Please welcome the Managing Director of Mr. Spex, Dr. Mirko Caspar.
Express yourself. Express yourself.
Hi there.
Hello. So, I'm a bit impressed by your scheduling here. You like when did your plane land at Arlanda?
My plane landed at 10 after 10.
10 after 10. And
so,
you didn't think we have any traffic here, or
no, I was just actually I had it in my calendar for 11:20, which would have been tight, but 11 was really tight. So I basically got out of the cab onto the stage.
Okay, but you made it, and you made it in time. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks for having me. This is a beautiful stage. Usually, I mean, on international conferences, it doesn't look as nice as this. Internationalization. I'm going to talk a little bit about our business model, being an online optician, and then I'm going to shift over to how we do internationalization at Mr. Spex. Give me 1 second. I haven't had a drink. If you buy eyewear today, and you ask consumers how they feel about it, about 2/3 of the consumers say they do not like buying eyewear today for basically 2 reasons. The process is really cumbersome, and they pay too much in the end. And just a little bit about the process. I mean, if you go to an optician, very often, if they have high-value quality glasses, and you want to try them on, and you point them out, and then the optician goes there, and he opens the cardboard, and then he takes one piece out, and you try it on, and it maybe doesn't fit right, and you want to try someone else, and he takes it away, he locks it up, he gives you something else. And at least that's for the good prescription glasses normally the case. And the whole process goes a little bit like that, and in the end, like I said, you pay a lot. And our vision is to establish Europe's favorite way and place to buy eyewear. We think you can use the internet to make things better. And basically that's how our story started. Where are we today? We are Europe's largest online optician. We got more than 2 million customers in Europe. We are in 10 countries. We have high season. It should be high season actually. The sun should be shining. It shouldn't be snowing in Stockholm. It was snowing when I landed. But anyway, we have high season still, and so we got a bit over 500 employees right now. And what we basically offer is we have the largest assortment of sun and prescription on stock. We have the best value for money offer. I wouldn't say that you could get a Tom Ford, Prada, Gucci with high quality lenses for the prices that we offer and the service that we offer anywhere else in Europe. And we have great customer experience. Is it worth it? We think yes, it's a 30 billion euro market, and traditional opticians have a 20% EBITDA. And if you do retail or e-commerce, that's very, very rare for a retailer to have 20% EBITDA. And how do they do that? Well, it's really, really expensive. And the good thing is that we've just started. If you look at how the e-commerce markets evolved, and if you look at consumer electronics or book, it's up to 30% online share already. If you look at apparel, it's at 20%. No one thought that you would buy shoes, and no one thinks or thought that you could buy prescription glasses online. So we are right there at the lower left corner. It's a small single-digit market share of e-commerce yet, but it's growing fast. What do we do? The core of Mr. Spex is really offering the best of both worlds. So we've thought quite a bit about how to tweak the e-commerce model to make it fit for prescription glasses, and we have started to offer local services. In that way, we can offer all the benefits of the e-commerce landscape with local services. So what do we do? On the left-hand side, what you see is we have a lot of filters, and just to point out one, it's easy for me to buy a suit because if I go into a store, I know my size. Most people don't know their size when it comes to prescription glasses. So they have, if I look at what they order, sometimes if they order multiple, right, they look very often the same, but the sizes vary significantly, right? And that's because they haven't used the size filter. If you just, you just have to do that once, right? Measure the width of your prescription glasses once and write it down. ideally into our customer account, and then we have it and you have it, and whatever you choose from then on is very, very likely going to fit really well. And obviously there are other filters like size and the archetypical forms and shapes and brands, etc. So then if you have selected a couple of pairs that you like, you can try them on online immediately. Just pick out your mobile phone if you want, and then take a picture, try them on online, and select the ones you like. And if you want to have them on your nose before you buy them, we ship 4 to your home to try them on with your friends, family, and give you feedback, and then you select the ones that you want, send it back, and then you get the pair. So that's how we do it online. And there was obviously quite a lot of stuff that you needed to do to a normal e-commerce store to make it fit for those processes. The other thing is that we've started to roll out a partner optician program. We have 650 in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the Netherlands. It's going to come to Sweden too. And we have opened up own stores. We had 1 in January, we have 4 now, so we're rolling out stores quite fast, and that's what we do, basically. And where are we doing this? In 10 countries, I said. It's Germany, Austria, Switzerland, France, Spain, UK, Netherlands, and the Nordics. So this is just the timeline. So we've started to go international very early already in 2010 and 11, but those are really small first steps. We really started to grow internationally in 2013. And what were the questions that we asked ourselves? And I think the questions are prototypical for, well, most international companies or companies that want to go international. First is, do we grow buying our way into the country, or do we build our business into the country? The second is, where do we want to grow at all? The third is, how do we want to grow there? The fourth is, and you've mentioned it, what is the brand strategy attached to the growth? And then 5, are there any organizational approaches that we fundamentally value and that we try to follow? Buy or build. The core of our growth is organic. So we've grown into 7 countries organically. We just opened up websites and started the business. But we also bought, especially here, and I'll get to that later, but because of the core of our growth is organic, we'll start with that. And so then the story starts, where do we grow? And fundamentally for us, it comes down to a pretty simple matrix. Is the optician market, or is the optical market doing well in that country? So how are the price levels, and how is the competitive landscape? Is it still in order, or is it maybe highly regulated, as you can expect it is in France still? And the other one is, how online affine is the target group? Because obviously you don't start buying online with prescription glasses. You've bought other stuff online, you have gained confidence, and then you try it out with prescription glasses. So actually the core countries where we grow organically is Austria, Switzerland, also the Netherlands, UK. It's not on the chart. Well, UK is on the chart and the Netherlands is not. It's just a conceptual thing. But France, for example, that was the first country that we entered. Why? Because it's simply the biggest optical market in Europe, but it's highly regulated. People still have insurance, and I mean, since they don't pay for their eyewear themselves, they don't care about a good deal, and there's a lot of stuff that we can't do online that I don't go into detail anyway. So France wasn't really the best market, although it was the biggest, right? And we found that out after we went into the market and learned our lessons there. And then I think that's a pretty obvious map. We have 4 phases. Get ready to play, reach product market fit, then test scaling a little bit, and then scale and build the business. So get ready to play is really, you just build a local language site and build customer care, see that you can ship the products into the market and start. And the KPIs that you want to reach is basically very few bugs and very few complaints. And then when you see, well, fundamentally it's working, you can ship and you can reach customers, then you try to reach the product market fit. And the way we reach and measure product market fit really is the conversion rate and the net promoter score. When people come to the site and they start converting, and if we ask them later and they say, well, the process was good, that's basically when we say, well, we have a business, right? And how big the business is, and if we can scale it, that's basically then in the phase 3. That's when we start scaling performance marketing, when we maybe test offline marketing, when we start improving our logistics processes, and the KPIs there is how much does it really cost to acquire a new customer and to get an order, how much do we make with each order, how's the customer lifetime value developing. So basically it's unit economics that define how fast and how far we start scaling. And then if we say, well, this is a market where we want to scale and grow fast, then it's build the business. Then we usually go offline. We start building a brand, we build the team, we build the service network, and then it's really the balanced growth versus profitability or EBITDA and build that market. That's basically how we do it. And we get to the brand trust and the brand element in a second. That's something that we also measure closely. Before I go into that chart, and I'm not going to go into details, it's why is branding and building brand trust so important for us? But well, because it's prescription eyewear, and it's important, right? I mean, you got to trust us to deliver superior quality and exceptional quality. And if no one has heard of us, likelihood is that they were scared, right? Something can go wrong, right? And so what we've seen that it's not easy if you have a trust-based market where native online search is so small. It's not easy to scale broad. You got to go deep into each individual market to build the brand and build that market, basically. So we've thought a lot about the brand, and we've thought this is a classic brand wheel. So we've thought about the emotional benefits that we want to deliver. Do we want to be the rebate deal type of brand where you say, Chaka, you save so much money, or do we want to be a bit more toned down and want to have like a more deeper satisfaction of having great eyewear for fantastic prices, stuff like that. So the emotional benefit, the actual rational benefit, what do we want to deliver, the reasons why on the left-hand side of the wheel, then the tonality, you know, how funny or how conservative, how traditional, how innovative do we want to come across? And obviously then we define all the stuff that we do to build the brand image. And we've thought about that quite a bit, and that's basically the basis of how we want to do in our business and how we want to communicate it. And then if we go into the different markets, it basically for us, because we have contact lenses, sunglasses, prescription glasses, which are three partly fundamentally different product categories, we have to decide how close can we go to our core market and brand positioning in that individual market. And can we go to the full assortment at the first step, or do we start with contact and sun? And how much of the brand and service offering can we roll out? How much makes sense? And just to give you an example, since France and Spain are not core markets, we don't have a partner optician network yet. But in Switzerland, where we have a very attractive optician market, we have partner optician networks, we have the full service, we go above the line, we do a lot in TV and brand building. And talking about brand building, this is on the left-hand side, you see the brand awareness of people being online in Germany. It's not even if they wear prescription glasses or not, it's just people online. Over 50% know us by now. If you zoom into the target group of people who wear prescription glasses and shop online, it's over 70%. And we've built that brand over the last 6 years. And what you see on the right-hand side is our conversion rate. And there was another graph, which is the share of direct traffic, organic traffic. So people who entered our site, they entered our site not through Google, but through typing in Mr. Spex. And the share of organic traffic is over 60% for us. Because people in those markets, they start to trust us, and we are their choice for prescription eyewear. And this is the chart for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And what you see is that Austria is already ahead of Germany by now, and Switzerland is almost there. We launched in Switzerland roughly 2 years ago. So that was the first time that we started on the left-hand side of those phasing. And we went through those phases really, really quickly and have built a brand that's almost as strong as it is in Germany already. And if you look at all the other competitors, we are already far ahead in those countries. Tech and ops. how do we do tech and ops? Well, the one rule is we want to have one central tech infrastructure. So it's one backend system, one front-end system, one data warehouse, one bidding system for marketing, because that's where you have economies of scale, obviously. And it's really difficult to build that stuff to a really great level. And the other one is we have one large central warehouse, and you see it there. It's 10,000 square meters, and it's really big, and it has the cutting of the lenses. It has its own optician workshop, which is quite large. So the prescription lenses, they are all produced, manufactured, and then shipped, quality controlled and shipped out of that central warehouse in Berlin, because quality assurance is so central for the prescription glasses that we do it in one large central logistic for Europe. On the other hand, if you talk about context, next day shipment is extremely important. So we have warehouses in Stockholm, we have warehouses in Kalmarsund, Haugesund in Norway to ship there next day. So if a market is big enough, we build small local warehouses to cater for the local demand for the fast shipment products. And so that's basically how we do it fundamentally with operations and tech. And if you look at the rest of the organization, what we've done basically is we run it for the organic countries all out of Berlin. It's an international city. We can get all native speakers that we need there. And it's a small dedicated country management team that works together with the functional experts in all different departments. So there are people in marketing who work dedicatedly with international, in CRM, in the multi-channel department, in product category management, operations, and so on. But it's that small country management team that manages the strategy for the individual country, the marketing planning, maybe even operations planning if they need a new carrier, and then they work together with the functional experts to make their projects happen. All right, buy. As I was introduced, we did buy, especially in the Nordics. The reason for that was basically that the contact lens market had been online for quite a while in Sweden, Norway, and Finland, and the market penetration for contacts was quite advanced, and we felt that building it from the ground up, and usually contacts and sun are the first categories where you start building trust, might have been a bit too slow. And we had a fantastic local team that had built LENSSTORE and EYEWEAR and LENSIT in Norway that fit our culture fantastically and delivered superior value to the consumers, and we just bought. And since we do want to have that European, the one way and the one place to buy eyewear in Europe, we fundamentally decided to rebrand and to migrate. And we just finalized that a couple of weeks ago. I see the management team in the Nordics sitting there. They did a fantastic job. And this is basically strategically what we had to do, right? You know that the Mr. Spex offering is right there. We have the largest assortment and we have the best brand service offering. LENSSTORE was a dedicated contact lens retailer. So the first thing that we had to do, we needed to give them the full assortment that we have. So that is done. Then we started to adjust the look and feel, which you needed to sell prescription eyewear. It's done. Then we did the rebranding. It's done. And now we're going to start rolling out the other services. But to be quite honest, once people have tried it out once, buying prescription eyewear online, we grow significantly also in the countries where we don't have that partner optician program yet. Even in Germany, only 20% use the partner optician program, and it's a huge market share that we have in Germany. Most of the people, if they have measured their eyewear once and they know their values, they just buy online. They don't need that. And maybe interesting for you to see how that looks like. So on the left-hand, upper left-hand side, you see how LENSSTORE looked. They just had a promotion when we bought them for sunglasses, but the whole page looked, even the home looked completely contact lens dedicated. The first thing that we did is we introduced other categories in the header and to the left-hand side, and then we started to make the look and feel look more like Mr. Spex. You see that on the right-hand side. On the right lower side, you see that the logo has been reduced in size a little bit, and that was the first time that the Mr. Spex logo was introduced. Right? Maybe you can just see it conceptually. And then to the lower, in the middle, lower middle, you see that the Mr. Spex logo is even a little bit bigger. And you see on the home page that LENSSTORE will become Mr. Spex. And the last step was actually this. On the left-hand side, you see LENSSTORE still which was then communicated as being a part of Mr. Spex, and on the right-hand side you see Mr. Spex, and you see that the look and feel is very much alike already. We didn't want to make it really bumpy for the customer that we have, but as smooth as possible. So that was a process that lasted roughly 10 months. And how do we run those operations now? We have that fantastic team who catered for the Nordics, and we kept it because the Nordics are big enough to have those operations locally. But what did we do? Obviously, we migrated the IT system because the rule was we want to have one fantastic central IT system. We migrated BI, business intelligence and analytics, the data warehouse. And then the rest is like HR in operations is mixed. In operations, we talked about it. We have one central warehouse for prescription eyewear, but we do have the top selling sunglasses and contact lenses locally here so we can ship next day. And all the marketing, all the customer care, all the CRM, all the work that you do in the local market is done locally here in Stockholm. If you look into the different markets, customer ratings are really, really, really high. I mean, this is a German and Austrian number, but I know the Stockholm numbers are really high as well. If you consider the complexity of the products that we sell, like a Zalando or whatever, they reach the 4.7, 4.8 maybe. If you go above 4.8, it gets extremely hard to get a decimal better. And so we're really proud of the customer service and customer experience that we deliver, and the way we trying to roll this out international, and we are doing that. I've explained a bit. So thanks for listening to our story, and I don't know if we have time for questions. If not, thank you very much.
It's a bold move to just switch a brand like you did here in Sweden with such an established brand like LENSSTORE. Didn't you hesitate before you doing it?
No, we were scared. We were scared. I mean, I'm the type of guy. I mean, we have those customer-centric, data-driven agile, right? Yeah. And one of the reasons why I think customer-centric, data-driven agile is good because I'm completely paranoid, right? Yeah. But the better I understand the customers, the better I know the data, and the more agile I can test, right? The less paranoid I get. But I was pretty paranoid when we decided to rebrand. In the end, the first thing was that we said we have a large repeat buyer base in contact lenses. The first thing that we need to do, they need to know what's happened. We can't have one single customer that is rebuying or wanting to rebuy, comes to the site and says, oops, something happened, right? They needed to know in advance. And then, so that's why the process took so long, right? And then the other strategy was, well, after we've communicated the new branding activities to the internal customers, how and when do we start communicating to potential new customers or interested target groups? And that was a strategy process and a structured process over quite a few months. Okay. When we did migrate and rebrand, everything did drop dramatically as we feared, but hoped it would not.
Okay.
but then that was really, it was because
what kind of drop do we talk about here?
It's well, you know, it's higher double-digit drops.
Okay.
But it was, and the reason for that was we migrated IT systems, marketing systems, tracking systems, and the brand on the same day. Meaning, the first thing I was scared that the brand was wrong, right? But then we had done extensive brand research to check the name, to check the logo, all of that. So I would have been surprised. But then you look at the different marketing channels, and the one thing you see is, well, you have tracked it wrongly. It's not as bad. The next thing that you see is, well, there's a couple of marketing channels that are fundamentally played out wrong, right? So if you tweak those channels, you make up for that. Then you suddenly see that the reminder newsletters to buy new contact lenses, right, when your old package is old, that some of them were faulty, right? And you figure that out over a path of ideally days, sometimes unfortunately weeks, but now we're feeling good and we're feeling strong. We're back to normal and back to growth.
So how many days did it take to have the same sale as you had before?
Niels, I don't know, maybe 2.5 months until we really felt good.
Oh, but that's good. Okay.
Yeah, but it was exciting. I mean, seriously, I literally get goosebumps, right? It was an exciting time, the 2.5 months, right? So I'm really happy that we threw that and made it through there. Yeah, 2.5 months, tough time.
What would you say is the main differences between German customers and Swedish customers, if there are any?
Well, there were fundamentally, in context on Sun, there were not so many. If you would point out in Sun, it is you buy a bit more fashion oriented. So the more edgier, the more trendier, the more fashion oriented brands go a bit better in Sweden. The funny thing is that while Sweden is ahead in almost all e-commerce categories, it is funnily behind in prescription. It's not in context and it's not in Sun, but it is in prescription, and we are trying to figure that out. And one of the reasons is that the market has been pretty competitive and it's promotion driven, but fundamentally the prices that you pay are still too high. But the noise in the market is fundamentally higher. To give you an example, existing opticians, they advertise with 2-for-1 frames and 3-for-1 frames and 50% off promotion. Most of that is on the frame, and if it's on the lenses, it's from a lens price that's significantly higher.
Yeah.
So just to give you an example, the standard lens, and we don't even sell standard lenses. We all are coated and anti-reflection, anti-stretch, etc. We don't sell the cheap stuff, but the quality stuff we give away for free for a 1.5 lens. And usually in retail, you charge €100 for that, at least. So you save that €100, and if they give you 50% off of the frame, that might be €40. You still pay 60 too much. And that education, that's the task. Long story short, the education, that's the task that we need to do.
But you think we will soon buy all our glasses on?
I'm super confident.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Mirko Caspar, Mr. Spex.